Hey everybody, welcome back to the stream. Oh, that's a little loud. Testing out my new DSLR setup for this. Hopefully a little bit easier to see what I'm doing compared to the other night as well. See, look, you can actually see details. Basically, the other night we got this far with this mounted Aragorn model. I didn't have the right colour for the horse. I now have that. Shiny paint. So yeah, and as I'm testing out this new camera setup, I figured it'd be a great time to do a test stream. So that's where we're at today. Yeah, I'd say anything that can make it a little bit easier to see what I'm doing is the best way to go about it, I think, really. So that's what we're doing. I have run into a little bit of a tech issue where if I'm running this DSLR setup, we can't have my webcam going at the same time. Because nothing ever goes right. But yeah, so today we're just going to be doing the horse on this. Oh, I didn't bring my metal paints in as well for the bit on the head. Okay, we'll get to that. But anyway, let's say just a chill afternoon stream. This is going to be a little bit kind of a little bit of messing around as I try and find the best place to have my camera for when I'm actually doing the painting work. 'Cause it's a little awkward at the moment, but we'll get there. Let me move my drink as well, because that's not in an ideal place. Hope everybody's Friday is going well. Okay. At least put it where it's in focus while I'm sorting all my stuff out. There we go. Good start. We should put some background music on as well, shouldn't we? I had a bit of a play around with the playlist from the other night, which is just a playlist of my own things. Because when I went and put the VOD from from Monday's stream up on my YouTube, I got dinged for copyright infringement for the Game of Thrones cover that I did, which I didn't even think about. So I've taken that out of the playlist. Everything else should be fine. So let's just put on random background music. It's all a mixture of stuff I've made from the podcast and yeah, other stuff. And my metal stuff, I was going to say. Okay, so a good one to start with. That's quite a large brush, that one. Where are we? There we go. Bit big, isn't it? I'm just doing the horse. Yeah, let's go straight in with the detail brush. So I've got 3 shades of brown that I didn't have the other night. One of which is kind of a wash. So we're going to be doing this in stages. First up, a base of One Fang Brown. Okay, kind of in focus. Then I'm going to do some light highlights in Scrag Brown. A wash of Agrak's Earthshade. Then we're going to highlight up again, see how it turns out. As always, let me know in the chat if there's any problems with audio or anything really. So this is all a bit of a test stream today. Oh yeah, this is the brown I wanted. There was a bit of a problem the other night with that. So we're doing a slightly thinned out coat of that, a little bit of water in there. So yeah, the camera placement's going to be tricky here. Okay, that's not too bad, is it? Better than it was the other night, at least. The tough part here is going to be trying not to accidentally paint over the bits that we did the other day. Yeah, this is a little bit of an awkward setup. I'm sort of a bit further back in my chair than I normally would be. That's okay. It's all a learning curve. There's my mum just coming back into the house. Finger in the way, isn't the most helpful for you guys. So as well, my paint isn't drying up as quickly on my palette as it was the other night, which is also helpful. If I was smart, I would have painted the horse before I assembled, but obviously not smart. I can already see a couple of details that are going to be a little bit tricky to do. There's a sort of strap going up the middle of the horse's sort of body there. We'll get the fur. What's that fur? We get the coat sort of done first, and then yeah, go from there. So yeah, this is an awkward sitting position, really. Yeah, already screwed up. It's fine. So this shade of brown is actually a little bit lighter than I originally thought it was going to be. So I'm glad we're going to do the wash layer. That should darken things down just a touch. In fact, what I might do is do the wash layer before I do the highlights. The first layer of highlights, I should say. Yeah, it's coming together. I should probably bring up the studio image as well again, just to covering very well on there. Get an idea of really what I'm aiming for with the sort of horse's mane and stuff. Yeah, while that's drying, let's bring that up. Now, where did I save it? Somewhere in my labyrinth of folders. Mini media, yeah, studio. Okay, so that's not a very helpful image because it looks like the angle on the studio one is kind of not showing the mane of the horse. It has given it a black tail though, so I guess we could go with, we could just sort of highlight up the black to a sort of slightly grey kind of deal. Alright. Yes, getting there with the drying. Just have a sip of my drink. Okay, so I'm going to be using this Agrax Earthshade. It's quite a thick brown wash here. Just get that on there into all of the crevices. It's going to darken down the main bit of the brown that we've already done, and then we can use it as a guide for highlights. See what I haven't done the rear leg. I knew I'd missed something. Something from a specific angle. We don't want to get lazy. That's the trickiest bit to get to. Sort of inside legs at the back. I'll let that dry a little bit at the back there while I do the rest of the shading. Okay. This shade kind of acts. It's an ink wash basically. It just all runs into all the cracks, all of the sort of divots and things. As it says, it's a shade. That's made a huge difference actually, I really like that. It's a bit shiny at the moment while it's still wet, but we'll get there. We're going to highlight up from it anyway, so any of the really raised areas are actually going to see another little bit of paint on them. So okay, nearly bent the sword there. That wouldn't have been great, would it? I'm just going to run and go get my metal shades, because there's a kind of headpiece on the horse, just that bit there. It should be kind of silver like Aragorn's. Oh, my camera's turned off. That's not ideal, is it? What has gone on there? Oh dear, this isn't ideal, is it? Well, this is a test, so that's what we're going to do. We're going to reload that program. It's good that we can check that it's only going to last a certain amount of time. Not ideal really, is this? remote shooting. There we go. Okay. Right. Well, I've had it on for about half an hour, so that's a good test. I'm going to have to reset it every half hour or so. Right, as I say, I'm just going to go get those metal colours. Be back in a second. I have returned. So, I want to get all the horse colours done before I do the metal. But that, with the wash, is actually looking pretty good. It's almost dry. Yeah, it's just where it's kind of still all in the cracks. It's a little bit shiny still. I really didn't... should have put my phone on silent. Do apologise for that. It's very unprofessional. Okay, so I think what I'm going to do for highlights, first off, I am just going to do another highlight straight up with the same colour that we put on there. It says base, but that. We're going to then do a very extreme highlight with the layer here, which is going to be a little bit lighter. And then if we feel like it, we might do some really extreme edges where we mix the bone colour in with the brown just to really get a sort of lighter shade. So yeah, we'll start with this one. I do have a palette here. I'm not just going straight out of the pot. Some paint on my hands already, though. Great start. You know what? Actually, I'm going to switch to a smaller brush. I don't know why I picked this one up. So, small brush. Being careful here to really just make sure we leave the dark spots in the recesses that the wash has done. Otherwise it was pointless. Fairly broad highlights these though. We're going to do the extreme highlights in the lighter colour. Hopefully that's visible what I'm doing. Yeah, bringing that colour back up. I do need to adjust the white balance on my camera though, because it's not quite what I'm actually seeing with my eyes on screen. Shade wise, it's never going to be perfect, but That's looking okay to me. Once that's dried and we get the highlights on there, it's going to look really great. Okay, it's looking okay. Let that dry, get our next colour sorted out. So I think I'm going to go straight into this one, the Swag Brown. Sipping my drink, doesn't go awry. A miss, I should say. I do wonder if that was basically exactly 30 minutes with my camera I had it on, so I think there's probably some power setting I need to adjust somewhere for that, so that's something I will look into rather than screw around at the back of my camera right now, which is a slightly awkward position. I will do that after this. I think as we're basically just doing the horse today, I don't think it's going to be the longest of streams. I want to get it to a spot where I'm happy with it though. So, a little way to go yet. Okay, so these highlights are a little lighter. So we are not going to be covering so much of the model with them. Really just to make the kind of raised edges pop a bit more. Here we go, back to using the word pop from the other night. It is actually, yeah, the white balance thing is an issue because this brown colour is much warmer to my eye than it's coming out on stream here. So I need to adjust the white balance if I can figure out how to do it manually while we're already streaming. Again, maybe something to look into for next time, but today's just a test stream. So this bit here, really just along that kind of raised bit of leg muscle. Just make the details pop out. Actually, there's a lot of detail on the head of the model, which is really great, but I don't want to screw it up. In particular, I'm really trying to leave the horse's eyes black because I think that's going to look a little bit more natural than if I tried to pick them out in a sort of lighter colour there. So I don't want to accidentally paint them brown is what I'm saying. It's looking quite good. Well, as I'm using a live shooting program, I wonder whether there is a way for me to white balance it in the program. Sharpness, contrast, color, tone, saturation. I can adjust. That's not something I want to change. I want the white balance. Yeah. Oh, that's a bit more like it. A little bit more like it. Okay, let's sort of see what's going on there. I'm going to bring that little bit of highlight a little bit closer. See on the edge of the horse's neck there. A little closer to the sort of reins. Doing like another sort of slight light coat of these here, because as it dries it's not quite so noticeable, which is good because I'm going for a sort of natural sort of feel. But I do want it to still be having an effect, basically. Okay. Just going to bring up the studio one again to see what they've done, because they have yeah, that's not that different colour-wise to what I've done. I don't think I'm going to need to do another really light highlight on that. If anything, their brown's a little darker, a little deeper around certain places, but it's all choices. You know what I might do now that I've done that full highlight layer? I'm going to give it another coat of the shade to sort of. Well, firstly, I didn't mean to pour that all over my hand. That wasn't ideal. It's not the best start for that. It is neatly bringing out all the contours of my thumb, but that's not what we bought it for. Okay. Has it gone all over my desk? No, it hasn't. Okay, good. Okay, yeah, we're going to give it another wash, I think. Just to, now that we've got the highlights, sort of really make things sort of stand out a little bit more. It's already all right, but I'm always a bit of a perfectionist with this kind of stuff. This should work well with the highlights, just to sort of make the shadows deeper and the highlights stand out a bit more. There's a sweet spot of it being in focus, really. I've got a new macro lens kit that I'm using, and it's good, but there's a real narrow spot where everything's in focus. dry. Again, the brown, it on camera looks a little bit more of a yellowy brown than it does in real life, really. There's a white balance issue. How do I fix that in the camera? I'm going to try and do that while it's drying. I don't think I can change it while I'm plugged into the computer. So I think I need to set it up beforehand. I think is going to be the. Oh, hold on! I might have found a. So the lighting in here is a little bit more orange than that. This is just going to be eyeballing this, so I can take it all the way blue. It's a little warmer in here than yeah, that's quite close to life. That okay. I'm trying to remember that. Yeah, that's more like how it looked. It's just a touch warmer looking than it was showing up before. Okay, there's that in focus sweet spot. Okay. What I'm going to do, I'm going to make the choice here that the horse's mane is a little kind of lighter coloured. So what I'm going to do for that, mix together the scrag brown, which was the highlight colour, with some of the bone colour to get that lighter shade, and then we're going to do another wash of the brown over that, just to sort of bring out the crevices and whatnot, and yeah. Put a bit of that on the palette. I'm not going to need a lot here. Should have done the light colour first. Oh well. Much lighter brown, so we're going to have that as the base, give it a wash, and then have a much higher proportion of the bone in the next highlight layer, I think. Yeah, the in focus sweet spot is an awkward place to be in with my hand, but I'm going to try my best here. It's actually coming out more of like a flesh tone, which I don't know if I like actually. Aragorn is flesh tone horse. Yeah, I'll let that dry. We'll highlight with just the bone, and then well, this is one of those bits that's all highlights really. Maybe a bit more white rather than brown. Be fairly quick drying at least. Up to a paler colour. That looks okay actually now. Probably not true to what he was riding in the film, but it's what he's riding on my model. I'm going to do the tail in the same sort of pattern, keep it as one thing. That colour I really don't like. It looks fine when it's highlighted, but otherwise, not so much. Any horse experts in the chat, feel free to chime in and tell me this isn't the colour that horses are. Annoyingly, going to have to mix up a bit more of this colour I don't like because it's dried on my palette. Don't need a lot of it, thankfully. This is definitely going to need a wash with the dark brown, I think. It needs sort of dirtying up a bit, if that makes sense. So I'm going to do the bone highlights. Then we're going to do the Agrax Earth Shade sort of wash, and see if we need to do another highlight of bone, but like just a real small layer there. Still a little bit wet, actually. Basically dry brushing this, there's a lot of detail in it. Still not 100% really happy with the way this has gone, this colour. Thinking I probably should have gone with a darker shade than the rest of the horse rather than a lighter, but hey, we're past the point, well, there's never a point of no return, but yeah, that ship has sailed. Exposed plastic there that I did not paint properly. It's on the underside of the tail, no one's ever going to see it, it's fine. But I know it's there. Okay. Right, what I'm going to do then, we'll give that the ink wash. Let's see how it looks. It may turn out okay, actually. Yeah, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to give this an ink wash, because that's looking okay. Where's the in focus sweet spot? There we go. I'm going to pick out the highlights on it with white. Just super light white dry brush, just to, yeah. Yeah, that looks a lot better. Hey Evan, welcome along. Hope you're doing okay. Never resist doing a proper wash on the hair as well. Add a bit of extra shading. How's your Monday going? Well, no, it's not Monday, is it? It's Friday. How's your Friday going? Good stuff. Right, we'll just let that dry, and then I'm going to do a really light white highlight on that. Just to pick out some of the extra bits. Really just sort of... because even though we sort of did that and then highlighted, it's going to look a little flat after that wash in certain ways. Going to need the lightest of light touches with this white highlight. Just barely any paint on our brush, just really pick out some of the super high highlights. Yeah, that's more like it. So the white is bringing it closer to being a kind of dirty grey rather than anything else. Some of the ink is actually still a little wet in the crevices there, but yeah. Not ideal. Kind of making sure that right at the tip of the horse's tail here, is where the white is kind of almost on everything, to sort of really sort of have it be that it's kind of greying out towards the end of the tail. A little sloppy on that bit there. But it looks okay. Or does it? I went a bit overboard with the white, I think, actually, in that little section. Now I've sort of leant back and taken a look at it. I'm going to give it one extra little bit of the wash, although that's sort of gone grey. Yeah, it sort of fits. I think that looks alright from a distance. I mean, remember, like, that's the size of my thumb. This is quite a small model. It's going to be on a shelf for most of its life. Okay. While all that's drying, then, I want to do the kind of head armor piece. So for that, we're going to start, as with Aragorn's armor the other day, we're going to start with a coat lead belcher, and we're going to highlight up with Runefang steel. I do need to go get my black wash, because I want this to have a sort of black shade on it in the crevices. Back in 2 seconds. Okay. I think I need a new chair. Right. So let's start with the lead belcher. Shake that up before I do anything else. The brand new pot of paint. The one I had to order one after Monday's stream because we realised it was basically like an oil slick. It was nasty and like 90% of the way towards being dry. Made it work, but yeah. So don't want this on too thick, but just all over the metal bit. Kind of in the crevices as well. Because what we're going to do with the wash here is just make it look. Still want it to look metallic in the crevices, if you know what I mean. So even though it's going to be washed down, we want to still have a bit of shine in it before we highlight it. While I have this out as well, are there any buckles and things? None of them too exposed though. I think that's going to look okay. Just let that dry. This is all coming together. So, while it's drying, we're going to add non-oil, black shade. When that's dry, I should say. It's a little bit tacky. That's probably okay. There we go, just fill in the crevices. That I am going to leave a little longer to dry than the metal itself, because I need that to be properly dry really when I do the highlight. So, the main things left to do, once we've done this headpiece, it's going to be this sort of fabric kind of rains cover sort of thing. Now on the studio model they have painted a sort of really intricate pattern on it, which I'm not going to do. This is one of those bits I probably should have done the other day. I could do like a kind of grey and white pattern. I have my white here. I might have to go run and get my grey paint. I didn't bring my whole paint pot in and really should have done. Yeah, I want it to be like a lighter grey than the rest of this sort of bits here. This close up on the macro zoom, the highlights I've done that do look a bit sloppy, but that's because they are really. But it's one of those things, it looks way better in person, as these things always do. But at least you guys can sort of see what I'm doing with this new camera. Okay. Okay, that's probably getting close to dry. Yeah, that's not too bad. Start sorting out our silvery layer. So for that I'm using Runefang steel. There we go. As I have for the rest of Aragorn's armour. Ah, good. This one doesn't look like it's drying up, which is always helpful. It isn't particularly thick though. A little bit on my brush here, because again we're just doing the highlights. Super subtle change. Very nearly knocked over my pot of paint there. Just in tone, it's a bit more silvery than the base colour. basically almost dry brushing it, but there's a little bit more paint on my brush than that. So I want to keep those details. I'm pretty happy with that. Okay. Right. Yeah, I'm gonna go get my grey paint. Because I think actually what I'm gonna do is have this kind of bannery sort of section here. It's gonna be almost white, I think. And for that I need to give it a bit of a more of a grey shade. I think we're done with the browns for today, so I will take those back while I'm gone. Again, I will be back in 2 seconds. Please enjoy this calming music. Hey, and welcome along. Sorry, I just stepped away for a second. Yes, I'm now using my DSLR, which has had the added unfortunate bonus effect of my computer going, oh no, I can't use your webcam at the same time. But that's fine. This is I've come up with these neat little mini Mondays sidebars. And yeah, hopefully it's a little bit more visible what I'm doing. There's like a tiny sweet spot of like only about a centimetre though, where everything's in focus. Okay, I'm going to do a couple. What am I going to do here then? So I have my Administratum Grey. I'm actually going to start with a slightly more. I'm going to darken it down a bit with some black for the base layer, just on this banner bit. Then I'm going to go to that. Going to go up to white and see if we can try and sort of subtly put in a little bit of a kind of pattern to it. Because that studio model is ridiculous. That's the one thing on it. They're like, hey, we'll just freehand a ridiculous winged pattern and everything. And oof, I haven't got time for that. All the skill, to be honest. We're going to do our best, though. Yeah, this is basically just a little bit of a test stream to see how well I can work the SLR while I'm using it for streaming. And it's a little awkward in some ways, but it could be worse. It's just annoying that I can't also have my webcam going. Yeah, I don't know why it's doing that, to be honest, because like it lets me have two webcams, but when this is plugged in, it's going like, oh no, cameras are tough, So I don't know whether it's the fact that like the SLR camera program, which I'm basically having to have Streamlabs look at almost like a game window, is monopolizing certain resources, or who knows really, And for now, I'm happy with this compromise of at least being able to see what I'm doing, even if you can't see my face while I'm doing it. think that's about as good as we're going to get, without me spending a lot more money on more gizmos just for a minor change in what things look like. Yeah. Okay, so we have a kind of dark grey layer on that banner. We're going to go up to a lighter grey and then to a white. And with the white, I'm going to try and emulate. Yeah. I mean, I've to get this as a thing. I have spent 50 quid basically to have a mains adapter for my camera, which it didn't come with, so it doesn't just drain through a battery in half an hour, and also a lens extension kit, which is how we're getting the close-up view, really, basically, just to trick the camera into basically being a macro lens. I could go even closer if I wanted to, but this is a happy medium between me being able to sort of work on it and see what I'm doing, and yeah. So yeah, we'll we can have a play around over the weeks. This is like this is a sort of bonus test stream, really, just to be like, okay, is this going to work before we try a new model on Monday? With the smooth jazz sounds of this track. Oh yeah, I do like those new tracks. I am tomorrow. I was going to say I can only do the first hour basically of Jackbox because I have a thing at 7:30. But yeah, looking forward to the Clone Hero this week's Clone Hero playlist. Oh yeah, of course, Sharona can't come either. Yeah. That's fine. We can play for a bit. Like I say, I can go probably to about 7:30, so we can get the first hour or so and get some quick flash rounds under our belt and see how we're going. Quite happy with how that's looking, actually. Again, as always with all these things, it does look better it looks better in real life. Should be my new catchphrase, really, for these streams. But sorry. There we go. Sort of not too bad. I think with a white highlight on that, it's going to look a lot better. Pseudo week off. Yeah, it's been we've done quite a lot of weeks in a row, haven't we? Where is it? Where's the in focus sweet spot? I think it's probably about there, isn't it? I could even go a little lower with the camera. Now that it's all dried, I'm really happy with how that horse has turned out, which was the main thing of this stream. Was I was waiting for my brown paints to arrive. A white needs shaking up. yes, I'm pleased how that's coming together. I'm still not going to do the like the base today. I'm probably not going to stream me doing bases because I have to use glue and things outside, and it's an awkward process and stuff. So I will do like a showcase post, I guess, at some point, just to be like, hey, here's how they look, 100% finished. Or failing that, like a lot of my models, they will sit on my shelf for multiple decades without being based. I think this is a bit thick on my brush, actually. You know, I maybe actually preferred the grey a little better. They aren't finished if they aren't based. Welcome along, Richard, and yeah, I agree they're not finished if they're not based, but it does mean that most of my models aren't finished. I do have a basing kit, though, that I bought the other week, so I probably should use it. Actually not really 100% happy with the white on here. It does look better on this side where it's fully up to white. Base camp, yeah. Well, what we'll do then, we'll work up, I'll get a couple of the full Monday streams under my belt, and then we'll have a big base camp stream, I think. Where we can do several weeks worth at once. That looks alright, actually. Let's see if there's anything else I can bring up to the white to sort of make it look like one thing, but... Especially considering I'm coming up to it from a black primer, that white is quite tricky to get smooth, but I would say I'm fairly happy with this, to be honest. It's yeah, I'm pretty happy with it. Like I say, the main goal of this today was to do the horse colour, and that's pretty much where we're at. There's no way I'm going to be able to do the let me bring it up full screen so you guys can see the studio. The studio model here, they've got this crazy freehand pattern painted on this whole bit, and obviously I'm not going to do that. I'm pretty happy with it anyway, though, to be honest. One thing I could do, I suppose, is the straps, like around the, what's it called, like a bridle and that, I guess. I could do a little bit of highlighting on those just to bring those in, except I've just taken my my brown paints back into the other room. Okay. Those really should be done with the sort of bone colour. Okay. I've been back and forth to the other room quite a lot this stream so far. But that really would sort of be a finishing touch on that, wouldn't it? Yeah. What do you guys think? Should I do that? I feel like I should do that. Just around these little bits here, just to sort of make the straps pop out a little bit more. I'm gonna go get my bone colour. I'll be back. So, yeah. This is going to be like a real subtle highlight just around the straps, the edges of the straps, with this colour, the bone, just to really make them sort of just stand out a little bit. That's actually looking pretty good from my eye. A bit thick. That looks pretty good, actually. How's that? Just really make those straps around the horse's head pop a little bit. Just some edge highlights on them. Yeah. Oh, my camera's turned off again. Okay. I realise what's happened here is that there is like some setting on the camera itself that it only stays on for a certain amount of time, and I haven't actually figured out how to change that yet. Although I've got a sneaking suspicion in the back of my head there was like I remember Googling this once before, back when Jason and I were going to be streaming, doing Dark Souls, that there was there's some kind of, sort of built-in sort of thing with the camera to make it sort of so they couldn't sell it as a camcorder. Might be some kind of time limit thing. But if it's not the end of the world if every once in a while I have to just turn the camera on and off, though. You know what I've just noticed? This bit right here is a bit of the sprue that I didn't clip off. It's way too late now. I'm also going to skip this because this is an early demo for a track that I've recorded multiple better versions of since my voice is all over the place. But yeah, way too late to clip that bit of the sprue now. Thought I got it all. Oh well, it just looks like it's kind of part of the banner. Trying to get the highlight on all of these reins as well while keeping it subtle. pretty happy with that. Just double checking because I'm terrible for missing pieces, but I think we're pretty much there with this, other than the base. I'm pretty happy with that. I very nearly washed my brush out in my Pepsi then. Close one. Right. I don't think there's much more I can do to this today. Other than the basing, and I'm going to get a couple of weeks of models behind me before I do that. We should probably... You know what? This is a good point to decide what I'm going to paint on Monday for our proper full Mini Mondays night. 9 p.m. GMT. I've got a couple of things primed up. I do want to do something that's got more colour into it, kind of like this Aragorn one was, because, you know, it's actually interesting to paint on stream. Because I've got a lot of ring wraith that are primed, but it's just going to be a whole stream of me basically layering in some subtle greys on some black robes, which is not particularly interesting to look at. I'm just looking at my shelf now for what I got primed. I do have some Galadrie Commanders. Again, also Lord of the Rings. So kind of keeping it. I'm going to grab them. We can take a quick look at them here, and yeah, they're going to be a bit more interesting to paint, I think, because there's bronzes. Okay, just grab them. Okay. So let's just push Aragorn back. We'll get let's get a final turn of him. See what we've done. So we've basically done the horse today. And all the strapping around it and everything. These sort of bits we did on the last stream. I may at some point off stream go back and just tidy up because I'm not 100% happy with these highlights here. They're a little bit, not quite as smooth as I would like. But overall, pretty happy. So it looks better in real life. These always do. But happy with that. Okay, so what have we got? We've got the Galadriel Command Squad. I think we're going to do Monday night. We have Stormcaller. We have Hornblower. We have this dude who's like, careful now. We have the banner guy. The banner has some very interesting details on it, actually, so that's going to be fun. We get to actually paint in the... Where's this? Yeah, it's got like the moulded details on it, so we get to paint in the banner. It's on both sides as well. It's going to be fun. So yeah, we're going to do these four on Monday night, I think. At the very least, we're going to do a good chunk of them. So yeah. That, I think, I'm going to call it a day on this one today. This was mainly a test of the DSLR and to do Aragorn's horse. But, yeah, thanks for tuning in, everybody. It was a little bit shorter than I would normally do for a mini-stream. But, yeah, hit the... if you're not already a follower, hit the follow button. I'm very, very close to 50. The counter is wrong on my... for whatever reason, is wrong on the stream. But it's actually 47, not 46. I need to adjust that. But yeah, I will be doing Tomb Raider tomorrow at 2 p.m. And Mini Mondays will continue on Monday. But yeah, catch you all later. Thanks so much for tuning in.